Hey guys, welcome back to Oopsy Daisy. Thank you so much for hanging with me today. I'm so excited that you're here. My name is Amanda Herdler. I am your host, and I am here to get real, get raw, get messy about all things faith so that we can all just live wildly free and joyful in our relationships, in our lives, and on this adventure that is walking with Jesus. So if you've tuned in the past few weeks, you know that we are in a teaching series. We are walking step by step through Psalm 23. It's only 6 verses. And I did not know that this verse was like a wet sponge that you just wring out and squeeze. And there's so much that comes out of this. There's a million ways to slice this, dice this, dissect this. I'm going to share with you what the Lord has taught me, walked me through, showed me through my study of it. But I do encourage you to go study it on your own as well. You know, the Lord reveals different things to different people with the same verses. So if what I'm saying about this isn't resonating, he might have something else for you. Get in there for yourself and see what he has for you to munch on. We've already tackled verse 1 and 2, and let me tell you, thank you so much for the people that have reached out and kind of shared what you've taken from this and what you've loved about the past 2 messages. It floors me because what I talk about sometimes, the points that I think I'm making, God doesn't always make the same points to you. Like a lot of you just walk away with something very individualized, very different that I didn't even think I was saying, but the Lord is using these words and just making the message your own for your own heart, for your own life. I love that. Keep doing that, you guys. Email me. My email is hello@amandaherdler.com. I love to hear what you are learning and exploring and just discovering through what God is doing in this podcast. We've got only 1 verse today, but we are literally going to like flesh this thing out, tissue from bone, dissect it at a molecular level. There is so much here, you guys. So we are talking about verse 3 today. Let me read it to you in the New Living Translation. Psalm 23:3 says, "He renews my strength. He guides me along right paths, bringing honor to his name." I'm going to do something a little different with this text. We aren't going to go through it exactly like it's written. He renews my strength. He guides me along right paths, bringing honor to his name. We're not going to go bam, bam, bam. I'm going to flip it on you. We're going to talk about guiding along right paths first, bringing honor to his name. And then we're going to talk about how he renews our strength. You have permission to do this. Let me free you up as you study the Bible. You guys, wrestle with this text. He's okay if you move things around. He's okay with your questions. He's okay with you putting the puzzle pieces in different places and seeing how that changes the meaning and asking him about it. You have the author of this whole book in your heart, in your mind, in your head, in your spirit. Use it. Wrestle with it. Wrestle with him. He's here for it. He's ready for it. I've had people be like, "Amanda, oh, you are such a Bible scholar." And I'm like laughing as I say that because I'm not. I am a regular human being. I have not been educated in this in any way. It's just been my, I don't want to say passion because I don't always feel super passionate about it, but that's me by nature. I question things. I wrestle with things. I disrupt things and move them out of order. And it feels to me like when I do that, that's when I squeeze the most juice out of this Bible, is when I'm willing to go to God and say, okay, what if I do this with it? What are you saying here with it? So you have my permission. Get wild, get wonky, get sideways, get upside down, inside out, left, right, back, forth. Do what you got to do to understand this book and see what he has for you in it. So we are jumping to the second part of that verse. He guides me along right paths. I'm going to hit us over the head right away because again, I don't say anything to you that God hasn't dealt with me first in that. And so here we go. Here's your slap in the face. Notice the order of this phrase. He guides me. Who's in front here? And if you didn't figure that out, let me help you. It ain't you, my friend. You are not in front. You were never meant to be in front. You weren't meant to be the one in charge. This whole psalm is predicated on the idea that us as sheep are completely dependent on the shepherd. We flesh that out in verse 1, dependent on him to provide for our needs. This one's even harder, you guys. We need to depend on him for guidance, for where we need to go, for what we need to do, for how we need to handle things. He needs to go first. Let me talk to you a little bit about sheep versus goats. This is what I found in my research, this idea of the Lord going ahead of us. Back in Bible times, sheep and goats were often herded together. They were like flocked together, and they looked very, very similar. I don't think, let me put a caveat on that. I'm not a zoologist of ancient biblical mammals, but from what I understand, sheep and goats looked very similar. So even though they were often in the same flocks, the shepherd could not deal with them the same way. Let's talk about sheep. They were docile, they're easily led. They're very content to follow the shepherd. In a flock of sheep, the shepherd will go first. They will follow him, completely trusting where he's leading them. Now, on the other hand, goats are impulsive, they're unpredictable, they're often restless, discontent. They prefer to be isolated, alone. They're not really flocky animals. Like they're like, "Oh, y'all are doing this? That's fine. I see something over here that I can probably mess with a little bit. I'm leaving you." They're really independent, they're stubborn, they're full of self-will, they're often defiant. I feel like I am describing myself here as I talk this through. But here's my point. The sheep and goats looked so similar that when you're looking at this massive flock of animals, sometimes the only way to tell a sheep from a goat is where the shepherd was standing within the flock. For a flock of sheep, the shepherd's going to be in front. They're following him. They're content with what he provides, where he's going. They know that he knows best. With goats, the shepherd is often found trailing behind. These goats are making decisions, finding their own food, heading up the mountainside to get weird weeds when everything they needed was right in front of them. And the shepherd is kind of behind them, just making sure that they don't hurt themselves. And so my question for you right off the bat, are you a sheep or are you a goat? And this isn't something that you're born into. Like, oh, I got the real goaty genes. It's not that. This is a choice. All of the provision, all of the guidance, the leading, the safety, the security, the peace, the rest that the good shepherd offers hinges on you deciding, am I going to be the leader or is he going to lead me? And this is not a one-time decision. This isn't, okay, I gave my life to Jesus. I'm a Christian. I'm a believer. Lord, go for it. I'm here with you. I'm following with you. I'm sheeping behind you. It's not that. This is a day-to-day laying down of your need for control, your need to make decisions, your need to be first, in charge, the ultimate say-so of everything you do, everywhere you go, and everything you feel. I don't even think it's a once a day choice. For me, especially lately, you guys, this is a situation by situation, moment by moment, feeling by feeling choice. I want to run ahead. I think I know best, but I can't do that because I'm choosing to follow my good shepherd. We have to stop believing and acting like we are in charge of our own lives. I've been thinking about this lately. We say the Lord with so much flippancy, with so much ease. Oh, the Lord this, the Lord asked me to do this, the Lord asked me to do this. If you really think about what the word Lord has meant throughout history, it was a position of power. It was a master, a ruler, a person with authority. So if you were a servant or somebody working this land, if the Lord asked you to do something or the Lord told you to go somewhere, you'd listen. Every day you'd wake up and you'd get your instructions and your marching orders from your Lord. This is someone who was in control, someone who had power over you. And I think we've lost that, I don't know, reverence for it, respect for it in our language when we throw it around so casually. If you've truly given your life to Christ, if you say, Lord, you are my Savior, Lord, you are my master, then what business do I have trying to take charge? So when you understand the position that Jesus should have in your life, in your heart, as master, as authority, as truly the Lord over you, you realize that you being in front isn't a great idea. It's not how it was supposed to be. It's not the natural order of things. So once you decide to lay down the control of your life and say, you know what, I'm not in charge. I'm not in charge. I'm not running ahead of you. I'm going to wait for you, God. I'm going to follow you, God, because I know you have good plans for me. That's where we come to the next part of the verse. So he guides me along right paths, bringing honor to his name. So where is he guiding us? Along right paths. In the original language, if you study that, right paths talks about circular paths of righteousness. And this talks about how the shepherds would lead these sheep around the hills in the Middle East during Bible times. So sheep are very, very fearful, and they are very hesitant to move into unfamiliar terrain, into new territory. They're hesitant to step into things that they don't recognize and they're not used to. But the shepherd knows that they have to move. They're going to overfeed the pastures. The water's going to go bad eventually. There might be predators in the area. So to keep them well nourished and to keep them safe, he has to move them. But he's a good shepherd, so he knows that he can't take those dang sheep and drive them straight up the side of a hill and over the other side. They'll freak out. They'll have anxiety attacks. They'll dig their heels in and won't go, not because they're stubborn creatures, because that fear of new things is paralyzing. So what the shepherd would do, because he's intimately knew his flock, he would guide them around in circles around the same hill all the way to the top so that they could go up and over. So they'd start at the bottom and then they'd work their way around, grazing happily on the little twigs and sprigs that they find until they came back almost to the same area. And once they made a circle, the shepherd would move up a little bit higher on that hill. The sheep could still see exactly where they were before. They were familiar with the terrain and the environment, but he would take them a little bit higher. And so it didn't look like they were making much progress, but the sheep could see where they had already been. And it's so comforting to them. They would stay at peace. They'd rest. They'd eat and drink normally. They would be healthy mentally and physically. And so these paths of righteousness, these right paths that the Lord guides us on, often look like we're going in circles. So this shows up in our life a lot. It feels like we keep seeing the same thing. It feels like we keep dealing with the same problem. It feels like we see where we want to go. We're so excited to get there, but it's like a really slow journey and process to walk towards it. And it's frustrating because you're like, God, I already dealt with this. I thought I was past this. I thought you healed me from this. I thought we moved on from this. It's possible that God is moving you to a different pasture. He's just doing it in a circular fashion because he knows that if he drives you straight over the edge, it's not going to be good for you. This has shown up so much in my life lately, you guys, so much. I felt like a year ago, I got so set free from controlling things, from being in charge of things. I was in such a good place of just, you know what, Lord? Whatever you have for me, I'm okay with it. Take me wherever you want me to go. I trust you with every situation. It was so easy for me to like hand over the problems that my kids were having, hand over my husband, my marriage, my job, just like, okay, Lord, you deal with it. But we're back again to me not being so great at it. There's been problems popping up and situations popping up that are challenging me and showing me that I still love to be in control, that I still try everything first to fix a problem before I trust the Lord with it. And I was really frustrated by it. Like I could feel myself becoming so exhausted and so angry and so upset and kind of resentful towards everything because I felt like I was making every decision. The outcome of everything was up to me, that I had to take care of everything. And the Lord gently reminded me again, you're in control. You're going first. You're not turning to me. You're not giving it to me. When things pop up that you felt like you dealt with, you're having the same conversation with your husband. Your kid is going through that thing again you thought you were past. An old temptation or a habit that you thought you put to bed rears its head again, and now you're knee deep in it and you can't seem to get out of it again. I don't want you to get discouraged. It is entirely possible that these things are popping up again because you're being led in a circular path. And it's not a bad path. God wants to bring you back to this, to deal with it again, to get free from it in another area or on another level that you haven't before. You aren't going backwards. We think of time as so linear. Like, okay, that was a year ago, and now I'm a year farther on the right-hand side of the timeline, and so any movement towards anything that was on the left side is bad. It's not true. You're not wasting time. You haven't gone backwards in your progress. You're just revisiting some familiar terrain so that the Lord can unlock new areas that you haven't dealt with before. And He's doing it in a way that keeps you sane. It's a peaceful path. It's a way to give you what you can handle and no more than that right when you need it. Here's what's interesting about sheep too as they graze those circular paths on those hillside. We think of like these green pastures. The previous verse talks about he leads me beside green meadows. He lets me rest beside still waters. And we think that these sheep are in these like luscious, beautiful, full of green grass pastures. That wasn't it. There was like little clumps of grass here and there. They'd get wet with the morning dew, so the shepherd would bring the sheep out so they could lick the dew off these minimal plants. And that's what they needed for that day. That's what they needed for that moment in time. God knows what you need, and He knows when you need it. He knows when it's good for you. He knows when to push you. He knows when to pull you back. He knows when you need to revisit something. So if you feel like you're being led in circles, take heart. That's the plan. That's the circular path of righteousness. You're right where you need to be. So don't try to worm your way out of it. Don't try to skip it. Don't shove it down in your heart and in your gut so that you don't deal with it. Sit with it. Ask the Lord while you're back there and let Him show you what He has for you in that particular part of the mountain. That relates back to the first part of the verse. He renews my strength. You're being led this way because it strengthens you. It renews you. It refreshes you. So if you do like a word study on this, it literally means He returns or gives back your soul, your life, your appetite, your excitement, emotions, passions, drive. So many of us walk around feeling dry and dead. When every problem comes up, when every issue arises, we play whack-a-mole with them all. You have a problem with your kids? That's one thing to deal with. Your job sucks and there's tension there? That's number 2 on your list that you got to tackle. Your finances are tight? Your health is failing? Tick, tick, tick. It's more on your to-do list. And so when we're in the lead, we see like 10, 15, 20 things in our life that we have to run after, that we have to deal with every time one of them pops up. We can't do it. We can't sustain that. We can't run after all of that. It drags us down. We feel heavy and overwhelmed and unmotivated, uninspired, super, super anxious, and we're not sure why. And it's because we're trying to solve every problem on our own when what we need to do is tuck behind the shepherd and let him deal with the problems. Renewing your strength and restoring your passion and getting that energy back isn't always about doing nothing. Sometimes it's about doing the same dang thing that you did every day, but just in your heart, you say, Lord, you go first. Show me how to deal with it. Show me how to prioritize it. Show me how to feel about it, how to think about it, what to say in it. This makes me think about riding in the car, being a driver versus being a passenger. If you ask my husband, I am the worst passenger on the planet, okay? I don't pay attention. I'm reading. I'm painting my toenails. I'm listening to music. I'm chattering his ear off when he's trying to focus on stuff, and it drives him nuts. But I know that there is somebody in the driver's seat that can drive well and that's taking me where I'm supposed to go. I can relax. That's a very, very different experience than being the person in the passenger seat that leans over and goes, should have taken a left there. Oop, watch out for that car. Oh, you better brake. Did you see the cop ahead? Slow down. I think you got to turn right up here. Get ready. Get into the other lane. Watch out for the bird. It's a real anxious way to ride. When we're led by the Good Shepherd like that, we get to be the passenger princess. We get to just say, okay, Lord, I know that you're leading me to the right place, and I know you're leading me in the right way. And so I get to kick back and not do nothing, but I get to trust that you're doing your job and you're doing it well. When we stop having to focus on the destination, the method that we're getting there, how fast it's happening, what's happening in traffic on the way there, my soul gets to rest. And that's when those things come crawling back, that excitement, that joy, your appetite for adventure, your passion, your drive. You're spending yourself and you're spending yourself in areas that you were never meant to when you put yourself in the driver's seat. Allow the Lord to guide you. Allow him to keep you moving, and you'll be surprised how much rest you find along the journey. You're still going there. You're still headed in that direction, but you're not doing all the work for it. All right, let's bring this puppy home. Last part of the verse. He guides me along right paths, bringing honor to his name. Why does he lead us this way? Why doesn't he just drive us in that straight line? If the top priority on his list was achieving the goal, was taking you along and plopping you where you're supposed to be so that you can do your little kingdom job and fulfill the purpose he had for you, wouldn't it just be easier to get you there in a straight line from point A to point B? And it doesn't necessarily matter if you like it or if it feels good. This verse unlocks it for us. He does it the way he does it to bring honor to his name. He's setting you up for success because his reputation is on the line. God wants to use what he's doing in our life and hold it up as an example to other people of his goodness, of his glory, and his character. But what happens when we don't feel so lovable? What about when we don't feel worthy? We feel like we haven't worked hard enough. We haven't prayed enough. We haven't attended church enough. We didn't sing that worship song as good as we should have. We didn't lift our hands as high as I could have because my armpits were sweaty when I forgot deodorant. I didn't want people looking at my pit stains. What about when I'm drifting from God? Is he still going to lead me when I haven't done enough? Is he going to lead me just as much as the person who's killing it, who's attended church every Sunday for the last year, who's deep in prayer life and journaling to Jesus every single day? Yeah, he is. His guidance isn't dependent on your own worth or how you feel about God. It's dependent on his character, his reputation. The fact that God cannot and will not lie means that he will uphold every single promise, regardless of whether it's fair, regardless of whether we deserve it, because his name is on the line. He said he was faithful. He said that he would uphold his side of the covenant. So we don't have to stress over every decision. We don't have to stress when we're not being a good enough little Christian. We don't have to try so hard to find the right path, make the right choice, pick the best behavior. He's guiding us, stumbling, screwing up, swearing and kicking. He's guiding our goaty little selves into things and onto paths that bring you good and bring him glory. And what if we just got to say yes to that? We overthink it so badly. Half the time, we aren't led well by the shepherd because our brain gets in the way. You don't have to walk the Lord's path for you perfectly. All you have to do is walk behind him. If you take a left and you weren't supposed to, guess what? That's not on you to fix because his reputation's on the line, because he promised you in Romans 8:28 that he'd work everything for your good. Now it's up to him to do what he's got to do with your wrong decision and fix it and to make it all work for your good. When you go into a new situation and you're terrified that there's like hidden predators and boulders and obstacles that you weren't aware of, guess what? Proverbs 3:6 says, in all your ways submit to him and he will make your paths straight. That's his promise to you. So you get to just gallivant, skipping and spinning with your dirty bare feet and a flower daisy crown on your head and go, great. If this is your path for me, Lord, you've made it straight. You've made it smooth. You've picked out the obstacles first, not because I deserve it, not because I'm a good person, but because that's who you are. When you don't feel worthy of being led by the shepherd, that's when you fall back on the promise of God's reputation. That has nothing to do with you. It's who he's been since the beginning of time, since before time existed, since before you were even a blink of a seed of an eye in somebody's testicle. He's been good. He planned for you. Don't overthink it, you guys. Just follow. Your walk with Jesus doesn't have to be straight. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be perfect. Half the time, it's not even going to be logical. But as long as your heart is submitted to him as the leader, as the true Lord, you can't miss. You can't fail. You can't get lost. You can't fall off a cliff. He's going to lead you in a way that's good for you and glorifying to him. Tuck behind the good shepherd. Watch all the vitality and the life return to your blood and your soul and your heart and your spirit. We weren't meant to be the leader of the pack. So stop trying. It's a lot easier. It's a lot safer. It's a lot better for you. Thanks for hanging with me. I hope this encouraged you. We'll talk soon. I love you guys.